Okay, so what is a romance novel? A romance novel was a genre developed in Western culture, mainly in English speaking countries. Novels in the genre, their primary focus is on the relationship and romantic love between two people, and it must have an emotionally and satisfying, optimistic ending. And the reason why I chose to do a romantic novel for my magnum opus is because I find myself enjoying these novels a lot, and I've read a lot of romance novels in my day, so this would aid me essentially in my magnum opus project. Okay, so the novels that I studied for my magnum opus this semester were The Notebook and The Best of Me by Nicholas Sparks, The Summer I Turned Pretty and Will Always Have Summer by Jenny Han, and 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. And I found these novels extremely beneficial for my magnum opus. However, if I were to change something, I wouldn't read two novels by the same author, because I found this kind of a waste of time, especially because some of the novels were more lengthy than others. But I found that there was different styles from Nicholas Sparks compared to Jenny Han, because Nicholas Sparks was more of an adult-based romance and Jenny Han was more of a teen romance. Um, the difference between the two novels would be that the teen fiction or teen romance, sorry, was a bit more juvenile in the way that the conflict was a bit more not as serious, and the two characters didn't really seem in real love. Okay, so what I learned throughout the process of studying romance and literature is the importance of characters in a romance. I found that I had to get to know my characters before I started writing about them. So, what I did was I created a character web of both my two protagonists, which were Avery Richards and Luke Cameron. The thing that I found that really was beneficial to my magnum opus was nobody is perfect in real life, so you shouldn't make them perfect in the novel. However, you should make them perfect for each other, flaws and all. So I found this to be very beneficial with making them right for each other, even though they had flaws as a character. So throughout my studies this semester, I read five novels, like I said in the beginning, and I found it extremely essential to have these qualities in a romance novel. I found it extremely important to have some alpha maleness, a sense of humor, loyalty, and vulnerability. Um, I say some because all out alpha male compete with chest pounding just doesn't do it for me. A little bit goes a long way here. Yes, it is attractive. He's accustomed to calling all the shots, but he's got to have some flexibility too. As women, we have stuff to say, so therefore he should listen to us. And obviously, females are reading this genre, so they would feel more attractive to a man who's actually listening to them, even though this isn't really a reality in real life. Also, sense of humor, I think, is another thing. It needs to be light because it is a romance novel. There is uh, certain chapters where, yes, you need to be serious and all that, but it's important to have a sense of humor and that to be playful. He doesn't have to be an all-out jokester, but a man who can see the humor in a situation is definitely attractive to a woman. Loyalty, this is an obvious one. Who wants to worry about whether their man will stay or stick around when things get tough? In my novel specifically, I don't think my character, Luke Cameron, is specifically loyal to his wife, but he is loyal to the other protagonists who the love story is about. And I found this worked in my novel, but I think he has a loyal core to his person who he's actually in love with. And finally, vulnerability. This is a crucial trait, and I think it's difficult. It was a difficult thing to accomplish. There's a definite, delicate balance. Too much vulnerability, he's wimpy or needy, and too little, you run into risk of him not seeming real enough. So this was kind of a struggle for me to uh, pursue in my magnum opus, but I thought that these traits were very essential to create a good final product. Now I'm going to read an excerpt from my magnum opus. So, The C Word by Keilan Kelly. She opened the wood door, and a handsome, tall man with light brown hair and blue eyes was standing there. He looked very sophisticated in a charcoal gray suit and groomed hair. Instantly, Avery felt butterflies in her stomach. She proceeded to give him a big hug, and then the tears started to pool in her beautiful eyes. Luke then wrapped his muscular arms around her tighter and placed a kiss on her forehead. When he let go, he sounded concerned. "Hey, Aves, what's going on? Tell me everything." As she wiped her tears, the two sat at the kitchen island. Avoiding the question, she asked, "Would you like anything to drink, Luke?" He quickly interrupted. "No, but I would like to know what's going on with you. Tell me, please." She then took a deep breath and began. "I'm sorry. I didn't know who else to call." Her voice shakes. "I didn't know who else to call. You're the closest to family I have left." He then put his hand on top of hers on the table and calmly spoke. "Don't be sorry. You know I'm here no matter what. My entire family is. So please tell me what's going on." She then quickly got up, releasing her hand from his, and grabbed her favorite bottle of red wine. She poured half a glass in two tall, rather expensive glasses, and then placed the glass in front of him. As he brought the glass to his lips, she motioned a cheers gesture. After a large gulp in silence, she blurted out, "I have breast cancer." As she said those words, the phone rang. Luke's jaw hung to the floor as she picked up the phone. She answered, "Hello? Oh, hi, Dr. Evans. It's good to hear back from you." Yes, okay. So what does that mean?" "Okay, I'll see you then. Thank you so much for calling." As she put the phone down on the rocker, she paused. She thought of how great of a doctor he is. He was extremely close to her parents and took great care of them as they were dying. "We might need another bottle," she says calmly. Luke, still in shock, finally responds, "I have so much to say, but I don't even know what to say." Avery untied her knot and smoothed her curly hair and walked back to the bar stool and said, "Luke, I'm sorry. After Mom and Dad passed, I lost contact with a lot of people and have worked constantly. I'm sorry for dragging you here." She rested her head in her hands and looked down at her now almost empty wine. After gathering his thoughts, Luke then began to speak. "Avery, I'm so sorry. First you lost your parents to this terrible illness, and now you. I just can't believe it. Why do bad things happen to such good people?" They both sip their wine and stare off into space. A few minutes pass in silence. After finishing her wine, Avery gets up and helps herself to another glass, this glass a little larger than the last. As she gazes into his beautiful yet lost glossy eyes, she speaks up. "Please say something." He clears his throat and opens his mouth, the wine stain visible on his teeth and lips, yet nothing comes out. He shakes his head in disbelief and tries again, choking on his words. "Holy hell, Aves, I'm so sorry. I'm happy you called. I'm not usually a man of few words, but this took me by surprise. You know me and my family care so much about you, and I'll be here, just like we were here for your parents. Everything is going to be all right. We must stay positive, even though it's extremely difficult." Her eyes begin to swell again as she tries to block the tears from dripping down. He raises his hand and smoothly wipes away a tear on her cheek, and resting his hand there. She then gets a glimpse at his gold wedding band. Feeling a deep clench in her stomach, suddenly a phone rings.